Hello, fellow Star Wars fans. My name is Starraptor. Welcome to my review for the audio drama Star Wars Tempest Breaker. This is written by Cavan Scott. This is part of Phase 3 of the High Republic. But before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you want to keep up to speed on all of the Star Wars literary content and much more. So diving in, first of all, where does this take place in Phase 3? So if you are paying attention to the comic books, this basically takes place right after the run of 10 issues of the Phase 3 Marvel comics of the High Republic. This also picks up after the events of Temptation of the Force, which I do recommend you read that one first before diving in. If you haven't read the comics, that's okay, because one of the best things about this audio drama is how it actually incorporates flashback sorts of techniques to actually get the readers caught up, or the listeners rather, caught up on the past stories in this era with the comics. So diving in, our titular character is Lourna Dee. And as we all know, if you're a fan of the High Republic, her allegiances are with Markion, with the Jedi. She's kind of all over the place, but we also have supporting characters, main characters really, of Keeve Trennis. Avar Kriss is more of a secondary character in this, but this is basically a pretty simple story of the characters picking up right where they left off, capturing Baron Boolon, and then they are going to try to take him to the Republic. On the way, they're discovering things about this blight that is a huge risk to the galaxy. If you are paying attention to Phase 3, that's one of the big tenets of the risk and the threats alongside of the Nameless and the Nihil, which is just the blight just slowly creeping and taking everything over. I do not want to say much more than that, but I will say this is very much a Star Wars adventure. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of espionage, believe it or not, in this. There's a gala that they go to, and there's some concept art for that. So from really good perspective of myself, this is a really good Star Wars action adventure story. Getting into the things I liked, first of all, the production quality is basically second to none on this. I know we've gotten the Battle of Jeddah audio drama, we've gotten a Dr. Aphra audio drama, we even gotten the Tempest Runner audio drama. This is basically a sequel to that. So but yeah, this is really just, basically close your eyes and you'll actually hear a Star Wars movie when you listen to this thing. That's how good it is. There's no narration, it's just straight up character dialogue. You have amazing sounds in this, such as blasters, such as vibroblades, such as speeders, such as just random machinery. And when it comes to the voice acting, oh my goodness, they got an entire cast of different actors that just completely embellish these roles that we've been reading on the page, and now they're jumping into our eardrums, and it's great to hear just how much they get into these roles. Especially with Skier. I think Mark Thompson, I believe, might have done Skier's voice. Just absolutely incredible. The screaming, guttural, loud kind of noises he's making. Plus, then you have the Ithorian Baron Boolon, who, as we know, he's an Ithorian, so he's got a vocabulary. But then you can just hear subtly underneath the vocabulary of the basic speech, you can hear like his actual Ithorian language, very low guttural kind of noises going through there. Just incredible, especially when you hear these characters like in action. Just the heavy breathing, the clanging of the swords. Again, you close your eyes and you can imagine in your head what is happening, and it's so cool to see Star Wars really getting into this space, and we've been getting on average about one of these a year, and hopefully they continue with more of these, because we know the High Republic is wrapping up. I think the pacing in this is really good too. I mean, this comes in at just a little bit over 6 hours, so it took me about 2 days to listen to. It's definitely a little bit different for me to listen to something like this rather than read it, because I am kind of able to multitask a little bit, but still being able to get everything out of this one that I could. Emotionally, there's a lot of resonance in here. There's a lot of impact for certain characters like Lourna Dee or Keeve Trennis, so you're definitely going to go ahead and check that out. The sound production is great as far as the stereo mix. You're hearing characters in your left ear versus your right ear, so I definitely recommend listening to this with a really good, decent pair of headphones to get the most out of it. Now, on to the negatives. I will say, as I said before, very straightforward plot, very kind of predictable with where these characters are kind of telegraphed to be. Very easy to see the fates of these characters. And another one for me too is the sounding of the characters, especially when their voices are modified from like a mask or something that's often in this book. And you have like 3 or 4 characters in a conversation around each other, and they're talking fast and it's action based. I kind of lose who is who at certain points, and that's where it's a benefit, but it's also a detriment where it's like there is no narration, there's no narrator in this saying, hey, this person said this. But then it's like if you don't see that person on screen, it's kind of hard to like, wait, who was that talking again? Was that Sarah? Was that Avar Kriss? Whoever? It's like, oh wait, what's going on here? And I kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit, if you will. But those were really my only negatives. I do gotta recommend this one. I give Tempest Breaker a score of an 8 out of 10. When you look at this from the macro perspective of the High Republic, is this absolutely necessary? I will say it is not absolutely necessary to listen to this. I will say it is an absolute joy. I think there will be context clues in the future for those that didn't listen to this in the future books, because they're pretty good at making references like that. But no, seriously, do listen to this one, because it does, as I said, it sounds like a Star Wars movie. It just doesn't have the picture. So there you go. That's my review for Star Wars Tempest Breaker. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about this audio drama. Are you going to pick it up? There you go. And for more on Star Wars, you're in the right place. We're in Skeleton Crew season, so my podcast, Other Room Transmission, will be talking about new episodes on a weekly basis. So make sure, again, you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That's good for me, Star Raptor. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always, for light and life. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Star Raptor.